What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles 2, why I'm getting this game, and this one's a little bit more 50-50. I gotta be real. Normally I come on here and I say, you know what, this is a slam dunk. I was gonna get it from the beginning. Look, ultimately, I probably was always gonna get this game, but I got the first game, and I remember sinking an okay amount of time into it. I beat, I think, the story mode in one day, and I just remember thinking, man, this was a letdown. Gotta be real. When it comes to the first game, I'm not a big anime guy, just in general. Yu-Gi-Oh is like number one. And while I'm not really a Naruto guy, I've honestly always really liked the games. My cousin always bought them and we would play them, and my sister played them, and kind of through them I would get into them. I've been collecting them, physically back on like the PS3 gen, and those games I think are something special. The Dragon Ball games. I feel like I'm kind of like this newer class of people, not necessarily a better class, okay? I think I'm far worse than most, but this newer age of people coming out and saying, can we do more with the anime genre than just this, this open arena kind of fighting thing? And I mean, and I've seen that rhetoric out there, and I will overwhelmingly kind of agree. I will accept them. I'm a consumer by trade, and you give me a game that looks very pretty. You give me a game that's, based off of some arcs I really like, and Demon Slayer I very much like. I mentioned I'm not a big anime guy. I am a Demon Slayer guy, though. I really, really like Demon Slayer. I'm all caught up in, like, anime, like, show form, okay? Not necessarily reading. I purposely don't really want to know what happens in certain ways, but, I'm caught up in terms of the viewership of it, and, I mean, the game looks good. Factually, maybe not factually, subjectively, the game looks really good. It looks really fun. They're doing some improvements, okay? I think they're going to add more to the story. It's 3 seasons of the show versus 1 season of the show, I believe, in the first game. And like I said, that was just an overwhelming disappointment in the first game. It's like, this is not enough, and it really felt like this coming together of this feeling where it's like, yeah, and even the gameplay, it's like, I like the gameplay, okay, and I think I'm going to like it here, and with more characters, and again, giving it a couple more years, the move sets and all that stuff, I think they're going to craft like a pretty darn good gameplay feel. I got nothing against the Narutos or Dragon Ball or anything like that, but I always just feel like we can do a little bit more with the genre than we really do, and maybe that's just a rant for some other day, but those are really the reasons, rapid fire style as I just did, like hopefully longer story. Obviously first game and first season more like origin story, so now it's like when things start to get real, fights become like 5 episodes long, right? So hopefully, fights in the game hopefully are longer and cooler, and so okay, story and things that happen with characters, that's hopefully been elevated just simply because of what they're covering now, right? And then you think about the roster, and I think the roster in the first game, I think it was 18 characters, but I think it was really 12, right? Because then it was variations of them, and that's not good enough. I think a lot of people complained about that. I do think there was DLC, right, that brought more characters to it, but this game, I again think there are like repetition going on, but I think it's over 30. I think it's like 33 characters. I think they say 40. I think that's the thing they're saying online, where it's like play is over 40 unique characters in this game or whatever, but it really boils down to it's probably like low 30s, and then there's some repeats in there, but hey, that's like double the roster, right, or close to double, so it's like that's a big improvement. And then again, there was nothing really wrong with the gameplay. I felt it was just kind of by the books, and ultimately, like, by the books for an anime thing, an anime game based on an anime that I like is still good enough, right? And that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of where I'm at with this game, is like, I'm not expecting this to be a game of the year. I'm not expecting it to be the best anime fighting game we've ever gotten. I think the first game slots in pretty fairly in like an all right category, right? Like, not even a score. I don't give scores, but it's like, this is a solid game. The visuals is probably the one big thing, right? I guess if you were to give a 10 out of 10 in terms of like a specific quality of the game, yeah, the visuals, you look at any of the trailers that they've shown so far, the cutscenes even of the, the kind of mimicking the first season, it's like, oh my dear God. And the gameplay, I think that's something that, again, should be elevated. And I've seen a lot of like battles so far in the second game, and it looks a little bit more fluid. It looks a little bit like almost like they added some added extra move sets to each character, because it looks more like what you would imagine these characters actually fight like. And that's that's a big thing. I think that's where Dragon Ball, even like Budokai era, right, even going back to like the early mid 2000s, like I think that's just kind of what makes it special, is like you're seeing the show replicated, but then when you get to play as these characters against each other, this is our fantasy of like how they would fight and if we were able to actually control them, right? So it's like all the moves they're capable of. And I mean, this is such a flashy, like really like high octane anime that I adore for a lot of those reasons, right? A lot of these, whenever they say blank style, right? And it's, or whatever form. And it's like, man, like it looks so visually stunning, and they're just really cool moves, whether they're swords or all the different kind of weapons that they'll have in it. Like, it's just really cool to see that play out. And so, when you're doing like a 1v1, 2v2, you want to be able to see in an arena, you want to be able to see that be shown off. And I think they did a solid enough job in the first game. This game looks like that part has been elevated, which I think, again, roster kind of elevating that combat at least just a little. And then, again, naturally by what stories they're telling, and then also just doing it longer. You had to do it longer, I feel like, in this one versus the last one. Last one, did I feel like, I think it was $60 originally, last one. I don't really feel like I got my $60 back from that game. I didn't spend that much time in it, but I'm hopeful. And this is it's a game that comes out in a very crowded, that's one of the reasons why this wasn't a slam dunk, is, August is not just a Demon Slayer month, right? It's a Mafia month, and it's a Lost Soul Aside, and there's quite a few games actually coming out in August. It's not just Demon Slayer. I think it could fit in rather well, though, because, there'll be side stuff to do to expand the story a little bit. There'll be the story. It'll be whatever, 10, 12 hours, whatever the length might be. And then because of the better roster, longer roster, and hopefully a little bit more complexity there, there'll be reasons to jump back in, even when, you play Mafia, you play whatever. You go into September, you play Borderlands, but then you can come back, and do versus mode and play as a couple characters every other night or whatever. So I think, that's kind of how I'm structuring it, where it's like I can kind of just blast through the main stuff, the story, see how much better it is, see the, intricacies of combat and stuff, and then come back, back forth, for the multiplayer type content. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.